Hey, Shalom, Lord in Christ. This is the ISUPK under Commandant General Yohana, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We've been called to teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that we are the children of Israel. We're actually the lost sheep of the house of Israel, unlike the imposter that lives over there and is doing what he's doing to them Arabs. We're going to go on to class. We're going to talk about a few things. Joe Biden. We're going to talk about Christmas, Thanksgiving, and we'll also talk about how we have served this beast instead of serving the Most High in the position that we in now. I'm going to play a couple videos so y'all can get what y'all need as far as a drink, pen, a pad to go ahead and take notes. And I'm going to give y'all some ammunition when you're talking to, anybody about Christmas or Thanksgiving and why they're celebrating it and why they shouldn't. So we'll be right back with you. I'm going to play a couple videos and then we're going to get it on.
Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome. Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome.
Been out of these streets, nigga trying to eat while the police on family stealing from me. Mama told me to pray, but white Jesus can't save me. Get him away from me. I don't know what to say. So many niggas hating me. Get him away from me.
Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome. Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome.
Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding around with my chrome. Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding around with my chrome. Tryna keep it on the true side, nigga. Laying low to play it cool, nah, nigga. Ass niggas on the team, I've been known to get the green ever since I was 2'5", nigga. Coop hanging out the roof, nah, nigga. Cause I ain't stunting on them. Put my whole team on so they ain't wantin'. When niggas doing bad, you know that they be hating on you. Get the hoping that you fall, they be waiting on it. Bullshit, get bread from the envy. Best friends get to looking like enemies. When you got it in this bank account empty. Perfect recipe to brittle out of jealousy. Looking from a bird's eye view. Learn from everything I've been through. Told my baby girl, if you ain't spending life with the nigga, never let him put a dick up in you. Cause if a nigga wrong, I'ma check that shit. And when you paper long, never flex that shit. Told my son, when you getting money, never trick it to a bop and flip it over, then invest that shit. Give a lot of game, trying to bless my kids. Gotta keep it real, that's the best shit. Got hitters up in Philly, back in Texas. When I get up on the track, yeah, I wreck shit.
Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome. Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome.
Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding around with my chrome. Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding around with my chrome.
When Westworld, let's get it. Don't be sure, tell them make sure. If not, we gon' make war. Clips say it hold 20, but I think it could take more. Grab a stick, fire on your camp, we gon' make s'mores. I ain't satisfied with my spot, then I'ma take yours. No matter how many roadblocks in my way, I'ma break forward. This path I'm on is so damn narrow, I just stay forward. Put them on my plate, I'm never full, I just ate more. Put them on my plate, I'm never full, give me 8 more. Nigga, I don't sugarcoat shit, bitch, I'm straightforward. Don't give a fuck if they don't let me in, I just break doors. Ballin' so hard, they asking what team that I play for. Skimmer who? They ain't stopped making guns when they made yours. Sick with it, feeling like I woke up with stage 4. They ain't want the beast loose, what they opened up the cage for. Endure the pain, been through hard times is what I'm made for. Paid my dues, never left a wage, I just rage war. So many chains and gold teeth, this the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world, got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
Still against all enemies. In high school, you was the man, that's lost memory shit. lost energy. Never lost my energy, never lose control, never losing, dog, I plan to keep. You lose your mind where I'm from, I ain't talking from what you see. I never lost soul, losing times, wasting steady pacing, you off track, I'm on that. You pray to God, hoping he can save you. But there's power about war, and that's a different angle. This another lost cause, and I'm just adding to the list. They not seeing me for that reason, got a flash on the grip. Nigga, big priest, they gon' judge me by my increase. And I'ma keep stepping in these joys to the increase. Just got off the phone with Jacob, and he said it's time to shine. Certified, blue dot, put it on you, now you verified. One West world, bigger than World War III. Do not sleep, it's not cheap, and it's still top 3.
So many chains and gold teeth, it's the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world. Got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
Came on boats and then chains. So when I get rich, I'ma grab a boat and 10 chains with 12 ribs from each tribe. And each rib gonna have at least 3 kids. Yeah, I'ma have the deep squad. Been rapping since knee high. Now a nigga shack size. Spit that holy fire, when you hear it, you get baptized. One West world, yeah, you niggas know the logo. And I'ma bust it down so the haters see the glow glow. Let's have a feast, let's shine on our enemies. Right in they face, let's blind all our enemies. Cause now we half, but we come from half knots. Throw that cash on the ground, my nigga, let's cast lots. I started from the bottom, birthed out of mud, raised by gangsters, turned out a thug. I ain't give a fuck, burnt out I was, from hitting licks in and out and selling nicks in the drop.
So many chains and gold teeth, it's the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world. Got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
Hey, what's good, Zariah, man? What's up?
Get your ass up.
Oh, man, you always do tripping. What's going on, man?
What's good, Red?
Hey, man, they was clowning you at work today, man.
So?
I mean, we watched the video a couple times, but we really couldn't tell if it was you.
Yo, how's your eye?
Oh, it's cool.
God damn!
What's up, Rock? What's up, Rock? Yo, let me get one of them flyers, man. Man, I ain't giving you shit. You better get the hell out of here before Cat Pop come out here. Man, come on, man. Why you gotta be like that, man? I'm trying to come to class, man. Why you acting crazy?
Man, you need to go do that.
Man, I ain't giving him shit.
Man, what? Man, you ain't gonna give me shit. We need brothers to come to class.
Damn, man. Ite me yato me tararo tato. Man, you fucking racist, man. Give me this goddamn flyer, man. You acting crazy, home.
Man, fuck you.
Oh, shit. Tebow, nigga.
What? Who?
Tebow.
Damn, I ain't been to class in a minute. Shit. Oh, shit.
What's up, y'all? What's up, Red? Thanks for the bike. What you got on my ties, homie?
I ain't got nothing.
I thought you already collected the time.
I did, but I want Red's 10%.
Stall him out.
What's up, Red? What you got on my ties, homie?
I ain't got nothing, man.
Oh, yeah, you got something.
I ain't got. Hey, man, that's messed up, man.
Shut your ass up or I knock your ass out.
Yo, Tebow, man, that's messed up, man. Give him his money back.
What money?
You right, man. The money.
Hey, man, why ain't y'all help me?
Yeah, man, I paid my tithes.
Man, that's fucked up. If it was y'all, I would have helped y'all.
What about the time he took the ties from me in Rod's backyard?
Oh, that was different.
Man, let's jump him.
Man, sit your ass down, man.
Man, I got mind control over Tebow. When he here, I pay my tithes. But when he leave, I pay my tithes.
Man, damn, man. I should have just paid my tithes, man.
Man, that nigga gonna cry in the car.
He should have paid his tithes.
Shit, real shit.
This shit is endless. What I speak is the truth. I don't care if it's offensive. 12 rounds hit hard, and this shit gon' go the distance. Way to exit cool, but wait till you see the interest. Know that we them niggas when we walk inside the entrance. Put me as the GOAT, you should be honored to get a mention. All my clips is standard, but I still get extensions. Switch on the big 30, sound like when it's spitting. Album so hot, I had to give them an extension. One West till they bury me. Yeah, that's the commitment. Don't trust the soul, niggas purring or they hit this shit. What I speak is the
What's up,
truth.
y'all?
I don't care if it's offensive.
What's up, Red?
Life that I chose, no turning
Thanks for the
back,
bike.
no endless. They don't
You got on my ties, homie.
God damn, man.
What I speak is the truth. I don't care if it's offensive.
God
Life
damn.
that I chose, no turning back, no endless. They don't understand when we tell them no forgiveness.
Tebow, nigga. Tebow.
Reincarnation, so you know this endless. I'm solidified and stamped. That's why I walk with a signet.
I wouldn't have did Salaya, what was
Good.
this?
Be like, man, that's fucked up. If it was y'all, I would have helped y'all.
All right, word. Man, that's fucked up. If it was y'all, I would have helped y'all.
Blameless, and if you ain't the same, I'm against it. Was born with the shit, the other half, I'm just gifted. 20 on me, wish a nigga would so I could spend it. Start from the branch, then I ain't at the soil. You got a peer on me, that'll leave your family tree for you. Can't catch you, then
All right. So if you could get the mic, if you could read that, because that's what I want to start off with. So welcome back to class. Again, this is the ISUPK. Started out of One West under Commander General Yahan, and we are here to teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that we are the children of Israel. I did go into a few videos to give everybody time to go ahead and get their drinks, their pen, their pad, whatever they needed, so they can get their precepts on. The first thing I want to start out with is, a conversation that I often have, and it's about us battling, not with flesh and blood, but principalities in high places. Hold on, let me get that for y'all. Because when the principalities is talking about it, it's talking about like those people in high places, those people that run governments, this is something that is, those are physical things, but this is something that's spiritual. And without the Most High, we can't go up against that carnally. That's not what the Most High has for us. So let me get that in principalities in high places. Let me see. I believe so. That should be, wow, TD Jakes popped up what the hell? Ephesians 6 and 12. And let me get there with y'all. So Ephesians 6 and 12.
I'm ready.
All right, yeah, you can read it when you're ready.
This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
And hold on, Salaki, if you could you start at verse 11?
Khan, verse 11. Put on the whole armor of God.
So we need to put on the whole armor of God. We need to take on the wisdom of God. And what we should realize is the wisdom of this world, it's nothing that is good for us. Right. When we see things on the internet, we see things like the wisdom of this world is to put Megan Thee Stallion before, the entire world to see with her shaking her behind so people can get votes. Exactly. The wisdom of this world is for us to take our women to abortion clinics and unalive our children. Since the 70s, we all know that, or if you don't know, 20 million Black lives have been lost since the 70s. The wisdom of this world is to make a woman independent to where she has to do everything for herself and she's not protected. And then she'll need to call a police officer. She'll need to call somebody to come help her rather than have a man or a son in the house that was taught by the husband. If the husband's out doing something, the son should be able to do something. If I could, a personal story. One of the things I'll never forget is I was on my way to school. And back then there were no cell phones. I was on my way to school. I'm driving. My parents let me use, their car. I think I was either a junior or a senior by then, so I got the whip. And me and my sister are driving to school. And I remember getting a flat tire and having to change it on the way to school because my father showed me how to change a tire. My sister didn't have to change the tire. I had to change the tire. And I can teach my son how to do that. So when he has a wife, he can pass that on. If something's going on, a woman should not have to face that by herself and vice versa. There are things that a woman should be able to handle that, a man is not going to be handling when he's doing certain things, especially when you're doing the Lord's work. But right now, that's not what we have. Right now, the wisdom of this world is for a woman to say, what do you bring to the table? And when you ask the woman the same question, she's going to talk to you about parts of her body that she's bringing to the table. But what we need to have is the whole armor of God. Continue.
Common. That ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
How can you stand against the wiles of this devil? And we know that the oppressor is the devil. We're going to get into it, but if you don't have the armor of God and the oppressor brings drugs into your neighborhood, that's a wile right there of the devil that you're going to engage in and you're going to jail. We've lost too many people to drugs. I don't know if y'all heard, but there was a mother whose daughter had a toothache. She gives her the child a pill. The pill ends up having fentanyl in it. The daughter ends up losing her life. And this was the wisdom of this woman. Instead of taking her daughter to a doctor or a walk-in clinic, was to give her a pill that she got off the street. That was the wisdom that she had instead of the whole armor of God. The wile of the devil was for her to receive that pill and to think she can give it, to her daughter. So that goes hand in hand. The next verse says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. When we're young bucks and we don't know, and we start coming into the truth, there's some brothers that might think that we need to gather up arms to go against this devil for the horrible things that they've done to us. But this says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities in high places. Joe Biden would be a principality in a high place. The United States government would be a principality in a high place. If you think for a second that you can wrestle against them or you can go against them with carnal means, you're wrong. Have you seen the drones that they have now? They have something, I don't even remember the name of it, but it's a device that shoots in the air. It doesn't even really have a propulsion system. It just shoots in the air. It uses trajectory. It drops at a certain point. It has like blades on it. And if it hits a car, they would need to know exactly what seat you're going to be in because it's that accurate to where is it going to hit the driver or is it going to hit the passenger? And that thing is going to drop down on you with blades and decimate everything in its path without an explosive on it. And you think you can beat that with an AR-15. You think you can beat that with a switch. You think you can bring a switch up against a drone. It's not happening. The oppressor is a Russian, a Ukrainian. It is a small hat. It is an American, the standard American that took over the Native American lands, Swedes. All of these people have weapons and destructive capabilities that you can't even imagine. Things that I'm not even going to begin to try to name because it sounds like something out of science fiction. So we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities in high places, against the rulers of darkness of this world. Who rules over this world? What? There you have it. Our brother, Officer Ka'aj, said the white man, and we'll use oppressor, but the oppressor rules over this world. Right now, BRICS hasn't taken over, so the dollar is what rules. That's what oil is used and traded with. Right now, the most powerful countries in the world are ran by the oppressor. Now you have other people who are starting to, come up, but we can't fight them either. If China got a hold of power, ultimate power in the world, we would just end up speaking Chinese and being, under their foot. Exactly. That's all that would happen. But right now, this oppressor, who is the so-called white man, rules the world. And how do they rule it? In darkness, against spiritual weaknesses in high places. That's what we are struggling against. So there was, and I'm gonna try to get to it. There was something that recently happened. What's his name? Brian Thompson. Brian Thompson. He's the CEO of United Healthcare. I was talking with one of my coworkers about this. My coworker actually has United Health Care, and that CEO was assassinated in the streets like a dog. Like they came with that weapon and unalived him like he was a dog. And this is a person. Let's see how much he makes a year, because people always say money is the answer to everything. CEO Brian Thompson. Let's see how much he makes a year. Let's see. His salary was 10 million annually. Damn. 10 million annually. As far as I know, I'm never going to see that in 1,000 years. I'm not, let alone a year. Let's break it down even further, because this man is no longer with us. He had a great job, wore a shirt and tie to work every day. Probably had people, hey, how you doing, sir? Reaching out, trying to get meetings with him, this, that, and the fourth. He had power, but he's gone now because somebody more powerful, a principality in a higher place, saw fit to have him taken out. So let's say 10 million. Let's say he worked 8 hours. So let's divide that by what's 52 weeks.
8 divided by 52.
There's 52 weeks in a year, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's say divided by 40. So in 40 hours, this man made like $4,800. Like if my calculation could be wrong, let me do that one more time. All right, so 10 million divided by 52. So he made 192,000 a week. That's insane. Divided by 40 hours. Let's say if he worked 8-hour days, my man made $600 an hour. Like, and had no security to help him. That's why you have to have the wisdom of the Lord. You can be a powerful oppressor, but if you cross another oppressor, it don't matter that you are one of them, that you are an Edomite. You're going to get dealt with if you go against the grain. So if you still have that article, if it's not too much trouble, what everything's going on, could you read that for me? The WADA.
This is out of the NBC News app. United Healthcare CEO fatally shot inside an NYC hotel, outside of NYC hotel. And
matter of fact, if you could, you can just send that to me, because I know the glass is probably throwing you off with everything going on. Yeah, if you could just send that to me. Because right now the Department of Justice is launching a probe into his, unaliving. Fox Business, we're not allowed to say murder, and it always trips me out every single time where, we're not allowed to say that word, but the news can say it, but they don't want us using words like this. But this man who made 10 million annually was taken out, and that money don't matter. None of that matters. What we need is the Lord on our side, because I saw what happened to him. I got you. You airdropped it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and let me throw this in reader view real quick so we can read this, because Black people, we think that money is the answer. We got some slick talking person that come up. They'll tell us about Forex trading. They'll tell us about this, that, and the fourth. These rappers are making millions of dollars, and then they're ending up in body bags. Like I don't like to talk lightly when a brother or sister dies, so I won't. But these brothers of ours are ending up in body bags. What was the brother's name that was from Philly? He got taken out in LA. PNB Rock. Money can't save you. Pop Smoke from New York. Money cannot save you. A CEO from United Healthcare. And I tried to find the information, but I believe a section of the government was trying to stop him from doing something, with United Healthcare. He was doing something and he was being stopped. He was receiving death threats. And I believe there was something happened to the effect of a part of the government didn't want him to do it. So they were trying to pass a law or, stop him legally. And I guess it didn't stop him. So he's going to a meeting with investors, from what I'm hearing. Outside of that meeting with investors, he was assaulted with a firearm and is no longer with us. And the way the person did it, the person had they had a weapon with a silencer on it, it looked like. And even though that weapon was jamming and the person was hitting it, they went right back into that shooter's form, and they kept the job going. They got the job going. And I saw somebody, they dropped a comment. I actually found out about this or got to see the video through Captain Zariak's page because it popped up. I didn't really pay attention to the article because they just said he was unalived. But what I thought was he went to New York and it was a robbery attempt gone wrong. But no, from the video, it looked like a hit. So it says United Healthcare CEO fatally shot outside a New York hotel in premeditated, pre-planned targeted attack. This is what NBC News is saying. It says the CEO of United Healthcare was fatally shot in what police said appeared to be a premeditated, pre-planned targeted attack outside of the New York Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan on Wednesday morning. Now, I didn't particularly see this part, but what people are saying is he was outside smoking, which we shouldn't be doing anyway. Y'all might want to get off them cigarettes. He's outside smoking, and the assailant walks past like three times. And then, hold on one second. The assailant walks past like three times, and then as soon as he turns his back, that's when it went down. It says Brian Thompson, 50. This man's 50. 50 is not that old. When you're young, you think 50 is old. 50 is not that old. 50. How old was Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul? 58. Brian Thompson still had 8 more years to fight Jake Paul. He's not going to be fighting anybody. He's not even fighting for his life. He didn't have the Lord with him, and he didn't have enough money with him to stop that hit. Because you see in movies sometimes, and I don't want to go too far on this subject, sometimes in the movies, you'll see something to the effect of the hitman comes and the person's like, I'll double whatever they're paying you. He ain't even have a chance to do that. Y'all ever seen that in the movies? No disrespect. I don't mean to speak so candidly about this, even though it is an oppressor, but he didn't even get to do that. You need the Lord on your side. Now, we're going to skip down to, things that are going on because I want to talk about what we need to have as our wisdom. Does anybody have that precept about the law being our wisdom? No, maybe so. It's fine. We can find that if we could, and we'll go back to it. But there's other things in news that are going on right now. Young man, don't do that. There's other things that are going on right now. Like, for instance, Joe Biden pardoning his son. Did anybody hear about that? So the thing about that is, if you ever actually read the scriptures, you'll see that the description of this oppressor is it's a snake. So the death adder. So the adder is a poisonous snake, right? And the death adder does not hear what you're saying. Like, I'm going to play a video after I read this verse, and it's of how cold and how just outlandishly Joe Biden was talking out of his mouth about our people, but he pardoned his son for the same thing. This is Psalms 58:4. It says, their poison is like the poison of a serpent. So here we go again with the oppressor being a serpent. If somebody could give me one attribute of a snake, what would it be? Why would you call somebody a snake?
Lying.
Lying. And what is that more of? Because a snake doesn't actually lie, but why would you compare somebody to a snake? But that's a good one. But why? As soon as you turn your back, they're biting you. That's why they say you got to keep the grass cut low for the snakes. A snake is somebody who's going to do something behind your back. A snake is somebody who is going to pretend like they're not going to bite you. When they have their best chance, they're going to bite you. They're going to bite you. And if it wasn't for field mice, I would get rid of every single snake in my neighborhood. But they serve their purpose. Just like this oppressor has a purpose, when the Most High is going to tear them down, so does the one in the natural world. Their poison is like the death adder, or Salakia. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the death adder that stoppeth his ear. People are coming to Joe Biden, presumably, and they're telling him, look, these children did not have a chance. We took things from them and we put drugs in their neighborhood. Joe Biden knows what happened. He's a principality in a high place, but he's the type of person that would stop his ear for you. But when it comes to his son, he didn't stop his ear. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video. If we can get Joe Biden on the screen, the babbling Joe Biden. Let's get him on the screen.
Want the video?
No. If you could just put his face on the screen, I'll play the audio. Let me see if I can get it. Let me see. I think this is it.
But let's look at the facts. Since 1986, Congress has passed over 230 new or expanded penalties for drug and criminal offenses in this United States. 230 new penalties.
So let's go back to what he said.
But let's look at the facts.
So
Since 1980,
for those of you who don't know, the U.S. government in the past and in recent times has worked with drugs to not only raise money for what they want, but has also used it to destabilize the Black community. It is a very, very, very important thing for them to destabilize the Black community, because with us being weaker, they get to be strong, right? Exactly. So if you have a man in the house, if you have a woman on board with the family protocol, and you have a child in the house, that is a strong family unit, especially when the man is under God and knows what's going on and can rule his household. When you don't have that, things fall apart. The statistic is that a single father is almost just as equipped to deal with the child as both parents. But it says when the mother has the children only, the children are most likely to go to jail. And this is a study that they know about, but yet and still they've been able, I don't even want to say unconsciously, consciously to remove our children out of, remove the fathers out the house and not care about what happens to the children. So this is Joe Biden right here. He's a goofy. But let's go ahead and play what he's saying.
Congress has passed over 230 new or expanded penalties for drug and criminal offenses in this United States. 230 new penalties. And these penalties range from an automatic 5 years in jail for any person caught with a rock of crack cocaine, a piece of crack cocaine.
So what he's saying is you are going to get 5 years if you're caught with a piece of crack cocaine.
Right.
So the statistics were out there with, and let me go to it. I got to read this because Joe Biden, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew that Black people were using crack because it was cheaper and white people were using cocaine. So they gave less time for cocaine. And in most cases, Caucasians didn't even see jail time for using cocaine in most cases. But crack, if they found the size of a quarter on you, you were going to jail for 5 years. How many important things can take place in 5 years? Like you can go through college, through your undergrad, and be starting your doctorates at 5 years. I know situations with family members who their father went into jail for drugs. the child was born, they didn't come out of jail until the child was well into their 20s for drugs. So laws with 3 strikes and laws with, you know, finding crack, this, that, and the fourth. Joe Biden helped put these in motion, and then people were fighting tooth and nail to vote for Joe Biden because they were afraid of Trump. Go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you. That's all.
Oh, no sweat, no sweat. So let me finish playing what he's saying, because what he's saying is so crazy. Let me go ahead and finish playing.
As small as a quarter. I don't have a quarter with me, but if you visualize what one looks like, yeah, I do have a quarter. If you have a piece of crack cocaine, no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, 1/4 that there is not,
sorry,
at you go to jail. Cocaine, no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, 1/4 of $1. We passed a law, the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. Now, the fact of the matter is,
he said the judge doesn't have a choice. The judge might be able to be lenient to a brother or sister, but Joe Biden wrote it to where the judge doesn't even have a choice in letting you have a break. He said, and I want y'all to hear what he has to say more about this, because I didn't never notice about the crime bill until I think either Commanding General Yohana or General Mahaiman had brought this out.
no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, 1/4 of $1. We passed a law, the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says you're caught with that.
Can y'all hear it?
You go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail.
So this is Joe Biden speaking. I believe this is 1991. And he's speaking and he's talking about the different laws that have been passed since the 80s, right about when they started making crack popular. Crack hit in the 80s like crazy, and they started capitalizing on that. Not only did they bring it into our neighborhoods, but they pretty much design laws around it to when you're caught with it, it's a wrap for you. Like a young person that's never did anything wrong in their life, they're found with crack, they're going into jail with people that are spending life in prison. You know what that's going to do to you? So now you come out with a drug charge, you're no longer even able to have a regular job. You're putting fathers in jail. You're putting sons in jail, uncles, but you're the ones who put the drugs in our neighborhood, and you know it. And he's going to tell you he knows it. I don't know if it's this one. Matter of fact, I'll play the article. He's going to tell you. Hold on.
Judge doesn't have a choice. Now, the fact of the matter is, we've gone from there all the way up to saying, under the leadership of Senator Thurmond, and I'd like to suggest that I take some small credit for it myself.
So he's saying not only will you spend 5 years, we're even taking it up a notch under the leadership of Senator Thurmond. And he said, I'd like to take credit for it as well. So Joe Biden is taking credit for what he's about to say now, too.
As well, and others, the presiding officer, that there is now a death penalty. And
there is a death penalty associated with selling drugs when Joe Biden wrote these bills. He is sending brothers to their death for drugs that the United States government put in our neighborhoods. So you're going to make sure that people get addicted, because crack is ultraly addictive. You're going to make sure people get addicted. You're going to put them in jail, take their fathers, and then you're also going to unalive them for selling drugs.
Passed it a couple years ago.
It was passed a couple years ago. Everything to Wob, sir?
I ain't see it.
Okay, no sweat. That's what I thought.
If you are a major drug dealer involved in the trafficking of drugs and murder results in your activities, you go to death.
He said, if you are a major drug trafficker and you have things involved, like he said, there's death involved with it, this, that, and the fourth, but they've been unaliving us all this time. He said, if you are a drug trafficker, you are going to death. What about all the Caucasians that was selling cocaine throughout their school and getting people hooked? Y'all ever seen The Wolf of Wall Street? All of those bankers and stockbrokers sniffing cocaine and selling it and giving it to each other. They're not offered the death penalty. And that's because when it comes to their plight, like I always say, when it comes to them, they're going to listen. But with us, they're like the death adder. So let's move on to what a pardon is. Joe Biden pardoned his son. His son is a literal crackhead. They found cocaine in the White House. His son put the country at risk with laptops. His son was using his father's card that's attached to the government to buy hookers and cocaine and doing all types of stuff. Joe Biden's son was facing jail time. And do you know what Joe Biden did after sending black men to their death and after giving them 5 years for about this much crack? Let me read something real quick. This man was pardoned. It says, Hunter Biden's ex-girlfriend has told a jury he was abusing crack cocaine every 20 minutes or so when they first met. This man was literally getting high so how many rocks, how many quarters do you think he sniffed? How many? Joe Biden pardoned him. He was facing federal gun charges. Joe Biden's son, Hunter, was facing federal gun charges. He's facing tax evasion. But Joe Biden, I almost keep one. Forgive me, Joe Budden I keep making sure I don't say Joe Budden. But Joe Biden literally pardoned him and made the excuse that they're coming after his son. No, your son's a crackhead and he buys prostitutes. That's what that's about. The large disparity in the time for crack and cocaine, as far as jail time, is astronomical. If somebody's able to, I don't know if we got any researchers in the building, but if you could look up cocaine versus crack jail time, and you'll see that the difference is ridiculous. Let me see. They said 5 grams. Wow. I'm gonna just read something real quick, if I could. This is from the ACLU.org. It says distribution of just 5 grams of crack carries a minimum of 5-year federal prison sentences. With cocaine, how much do you think you would have to distribute to get the same penalty?
I'm not sure the measurements.
500 grams. 500 grams. You would have to, what is that, 100 times more? Because they know that the Caucasian man was dealing with the cocaine and the black man was dealing with crack. That difference is crazy. That and the drug is pretty much the same. One is just fried. One is just cooked up. However they do it with a spoon, whatever they do. Is it a spoon? They do something with. No, that might be heroin. But yeah, you find what you needed to find. All right, no sweat. But yeah, the difference is astronomical. The amount of time. Let me see, and we'll move on because I still want to talk about Thanksgiving and Christmas. Let me see. All right, let me see if I could actually find it because they normally have it listed. I want to find a good article that kind of spells it out. If I can't find it in the next few seconds. All right. It says just before passage of FSA which is partially addressed the disparity of reducing the ratio of, the black and white drug usage. It says 7.3% of people sentenced under the federal crack cocaine laws were white, while black people made up 78% today. There was a higher usage of cocaine users by, Caucasians, but we still went to jail in droves. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and drop that because I really want to talk about, Thanksgiving. Who knows exactly why we have Thanksgiving? Who knows where Thanksgiving comes from? If a brother wants to go ahead and did you have your hand up first? All right, no sweat. If you could get the mic.
What I was going to say is most people don't know, but they're celebrating the demise of the natives.
Exactly.
So the Pequots and all different other, basically Gad and Reuben, the tribes of Gad and Reuben. And they celebrated how the pagans gave the pilgrims, sorry, Salaki, how the pilgrims gave the Indians the blankets with smallpox and they captured them.
Right.
So people are just basically celebrating the demise of the natives.
Damn right. Go ahead.
The Buffalo Soldiers was actually made to kill off all the buffaloes, to starve out the Native Americans to come out of the wilderness.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard quite a few things.
For that feast.
Right, about the Buffalo Soldiers, why the natives called them Buffalo Soldiers. And those are two very great points. One of the things that we should understand about our oppressor is a lot of their holidays have to deal with them winning a war, or not even a war, of a massacre. A lot of their saints, like St. Patrick, I believe he unalived like millions of these Africans. St. Patrick, something like that. St. James, the Moor Slayer, they credit him and they give reverence to him because he killed a lot of black people in Spain and Grenada. And then, the Pilgrims, they credit them and they give thanks to them on Thanksgiving because of all the Native Americans that were unalive and they had a feast over them. It's I'll just read this. The oppressor killed Native American brothers and sisters and established colonies and towns. They had a victory over our brothers and sisters and celebrated. Every victory was a feast prompting Thanksgiving, which is dated around 1621. So Thanksgiving, as we know it, was many feasts at first. And every single time a brother or sister sits down, what they're doing is celebrating the demise of God's children. And we've said this over and over. Celebrating Thanksgiving is literally celebrating the fact that the same oppressor that put us in cages and put, shackles around our ankles won a victory over our brothers and sisters. In Habakkuk 2:12, it says, "Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity." So what happened with the Native Americans? They were given diseases, smallpox on blankets. They were kicked out and made to walk. What was that great walk called? What was it called? Trail of Tears, the Wada. And even Andrew Jackson, who literally unalived like millions of our brothers and sisters and was happy to do it. He's literally celebrated till this day. Micah Ward just sent me an article, and it says 1865 to 1903, annihilation of buffalo by military and hunters. So they literally took a food source. They literally took a food source that was for our brothers and sisters and literally damn near made a natural resource or an animal extinct so brothers and sisters could not eat. That's what we're dealing with. Let's read that again. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity. You celebrate this every time, and the Lord says destruction to him that would destroy the towns of the Native Americans and then build your own town in blood. They used to call them the fork-tongued devils. They keep us in slavery while gaining their own freedom, even when they're fight. Like, I don't know how many people know this, but when the Ukrainians, when we were saying pray for Ukraine, the Ukrainians didn't even want to live around black people when they were coming to the United Kingdom and being saved from the big bad Russians. Like, they're not worried about having to go back to a land that Putin is bombing. They're worried about having to be around black people. That's what they're worrying about. Let me go ahead and continue, because I want to talk about Christmas, because this isn't going to be a long lesson, but there's certain points I wanted to touch, and I believe that we'll be talking about Christmas later on as well, right? So I don't want to drill it too much. All right. So a lot of people try to say that, you know, Christ was born on December 25th. But if somebody Googles it, you'll see many other gods are credited for being born on December 25th. So who can give me one god that was born on December 25th? Nimrod. Any other before I start rattling them off? Anybody else want to give me some? Pause.
That's all I know. I don't know Nimrod, right? Who else?
Tammuz. That's like an Egyptian god. Sol Invictus. So let's go ahead and read that.
Saturnalia, homeless guy.
No, that's a celebration that I have an article that I can read as well. Because Saturnalia was like I don't even want to use the term, but it was like a big orgy and celebration that they had. And go ahead.
Kanai said
Horus, and that's one. And I'll start reading them. We'll start. Thawada Kanai. The falcon-headed monarch, which is Horus, is an Egyptian and sun god of the guardian of places, people, and lineages. And that's somebody that was credited for December 25th. Attis, the god of vegetation. Bacchus, also known as Dionysus, the god of agriculture. And that's a shame. A lot of people, their slave name might be Dion, but that comes from a whole different god. And we're naming our children that, Dionysus. Who else? Helios, a sun god who drove chariots across the sky. Hercules, I didn't even know Hercules was born on Christmas. But what's funny about Hercules is when Hercules was born, who was after Hercules? Wasn't it Hera? Herod was after Christ. Like these devils, they try to make something fake, something mythological out of something's real. So a black child was being hunted down by Herod. They take their own mythology about Hercules and try to say that he was from God and he was being hunted as well. We have all these gods, but Christ was not born on December 25th, and Christ and God are not the same person. So you have all of these stories, all of these things, and you're celebrating all of these holidays that have nothing to do with the Most High. Since Kaash brought it up, let's get Saturnalia. Saturnalia. All right, let's see. All right, let me go ahead and read that. All right, so this is from the history, the channel, history.com. And it says Saturnalia, held in mid-December, is an ancient Roman pagan festival honoring agricultural god Saturn. So that word pagan just means satanic. It's a satanic holiday. Because of when the holiday occurred near the winter solstice, Saturnalia celebrations are the source of many of the traditions we now associate with Christmas. If I could, can somebody get yes. All right. So a lot of the celebrations that we have, it comes from Saturnalia when you celebrate Christmas, such as wreaths, candles, feastings, and gift giving. Saturnalia, the most popular holiday on the ancient Roman calendar, derived from older farming related rituals of midwinter and winter solstice. So these people, the reason why you have Sol Invictus, Cellulitis, whatever his name was, the reason why you have all these other gods And you see it's a sun god, the rise of chariot across this, the unconquered sun, is because they lived in cold conditions and they worshiped the sun because they thought the sun brought life. That's why the evergreen tree is a representation of everlasting life for them. And there was a pastor at somebody's church I know that said that it was good that we should put a Christmas tree in church because it represented everlasting life. And he actually said this. So I'll continue to read. It says, the pagan celebration of Saturn, the Roman god of agriculture and time, began as a single day. But by the late Republic, 133 to 31 BC, it had expanded a week-long festivity or festival beginning December 17th. On the Julian calendar, which the Romans used at the time, the winter solstice fell on December 25th. So if you're celebrating that and trying to attribute it to Christ, it's not something that you can attribute to Christ. And somebody can say, well, this is how I worship Christ. Somebody give me Job 14:4, because can you go ahead and read that when you get a chance? The Jeremiah.
Jeremiah 10:2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
So the heathen is who's celebrating Saturnalia. The heathen is who is taking all these things, wreaths, candles, what's called a Yuletide log. Like at one point in time, a wreath was considered like a symbol, or it had power. I don't want to call it an amulet, but it was something that was physical that they would put on their door. The wreath was to ward off evil spirits. Continue.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
That sun is what they worship. When they look in the heavens, when the Lord is talking about this particular heavens, he's talking about the sky, the sun, the moon, the stars. Don't be dismayed at them. Don't attribute and give such importance to the sun for giving life. Don't worship the creation, worship the creator. Continue.
For the heathen are dismayed at them.
They're the one that worship the sun and make a whole god behind it like idiots. The sun goes down and it comes back up. If the Lord didn't make it, it wouldn't happen. So why worship the sun? Continue.
Verse 3. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest.
The Romans are going into the forest and cutting the trees when it's winter time. Continue.
The work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold.
Don't they deck the halls? Don't they put ornaments that are gold and silver? And some people are tacky. Remember that stuff we used to put on the tree? What was that stuff? It was like this like literally, we would literally wrap the whole tree. What'd you say? Tinsel. We would wrap the whole tree in silver tinsel and it would look like a disgusting mess. Like, y'all remember that?
Come on.
And what's so sad about it is kids really look so forward to Christmas because they don't know any better. And we give them holidays we give them things like Santa Claus. When Santa Claus was Zwarte, no, not Zwarte Pete, that's his little elf that was a slave. But Sinterklaas, which was pretty much a slave driver that, was from a whole different, other Caucasian country that they adapted Santa Claus into. And this is what we teach in our children. Continue.
They fasten it with nails and with hammers.
So the tree, you cut it down, it can't stand up by itself. So what do we do back in the day as well? We would get that little stand. Anybody know what that stand is called? I haven't celebrated Christmas in a long time now. What's that stand called?
I didn't know what it is.
It's like a tree stand.
Yeah.
Now you don't have a real tree, but back then you would get a tree stand, you would nail it down, and that tree would stand up straight. You would try to get it as straight as possible. And you had a real tree in there, you put lights on it so your house caught on fire sometimes. That's what you did to yourself. Go ahead.
Now I heard they putting up cross trees.
Yo, can we get a picture of that, please? I have to see this. What? Yo, the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Good night. Cross trees. I got to see this.
All right, 1 second. I'm about to pull it right now.
Oh my God. They sell them at Target, Walmart. Good night. Can you imagine? Like I always bring up the whole electric chair thing. Like somebody like, and let me circle back real quick while we get up that cross tree.
That's up there.
The water. Like the reason why I brought up Joe Biden pardoning his son is because Christ pardoned us. And Joe Biden's son is a terrible person. So even after he gets pardoned, do you know what he's going to do? Since he's a criminal, yes, he's going to smoke crack again. He's probably going to get more gun charges. He's probably going to order more 304s and have Saturnalia parties. He's probably the original Diddy party maker, Hunter Biden. So to get pardoned and do the same crimes is just idiotic. Look at this cross tree. This is what we've turned into. And I thank God for the strong men of ISUPK like Commanding General Yohana that just had enough strength to keep the truth going, because I might, in my infinite wisdom of the world being lost, have a cross tree in my house. I might go, oh, that's a good idea. Let's have a cross tree. But I can look at that and know it's an abomination. Because number one, you're not supposed to worship the cross. That would be if they unalive Christ another way. Is that like if they use the knife? Do you wear a knife around your neck or get it tattooed on your head like 21 Savage? Is that what we're doing? If your brother dies because he took the punishment for a crime you committed and they give him lethal injection, do you tattoo a needle by your arm? No, you don't wear a cross around your neck. You don't deck a cross tree in your house and worship Christ that way. That's a whole different Jesus you worship. You're worshiping Caesar Borgia. Good, a cross tree. That was a good one. Who brought that out? Michael War, the water. That's crazy. I ain't heard of that. We're gonna have to bring that out again. What I do? Oh, let's see the comment. All right, let's see. Kanai said, wow, I thought you meant a cross-dressing Christmas tree. She said a trans tree. She thought it was a cross-dressing tree. Good night. All right, let's get back to it, because I gotta finish reading this article. Because for a time, even the oppressor had a little guilt about Saturnalia, because in certain places, like I believe in Great Britain at a certain time, or even in early America, Christmas was banned because people were having too many drunken orgies in the street. So they banned it. But they've made it a thing that's normal. They've tried to take an unclean thing and make it a clean thing. Job 4, were we done on that verse? If we can read a little bit more, Salakia. And I just want to point out these classes are for the law. So you can, like, it's such a practical thing not to be a criminal, right? Right? Because if you don't commit crimes, you don't get thrown in jail, or the oppressor won't have a legitimate reason to throw you in jail. If you don't sin against the Most High, which is the equivalent of being a criminal to the Most High, you won't have to suffer death. You won't have to deal with the punishments and the curses. But let's finish reading it.
Jeremiah 10 and verse 5. They are upright as the palm tree.
So back in the day, the palm tree is something that they did, because a lot of the stuff that the Romans and the Greeks do, it's just their adaptation of what Egyptians used to do. At first, the Egyptians used to celebrate birthdays, but now the Greeks and the Romans did it, and they dedicated to another, like the god. I can't remember her name. She's the god of the moon. I cannot remember her name, but that's what birthdays come from. That moon-shaped cake, that circle with the lights and the candles, that comes from the Greeks and the Romans. So looks like my son is trying to tell me, but I know you don't know the name.
I'm gonna look right now.
I just don't want to navigate from my notes that I have about.
You was talking about for Egyptian.
What are the
Artemis?
Yeah, Artemis, the god of the moon, right?
This is a lunar deity.
Right. She's a lunar deity that they worship, and they celebrated birthdays like that, but they got it from the Egyptians. But let's finish with that verse, because I want to read Job 14 and 4.
They must needs be born. Slakia. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born.
So what that means is even though they're standing up, they're not standing up on their own. Even though that tree is standing straight up, it was nailed down. That's why it's straightened up. It does not speak, and it needs to be born. That sounds weird, but what that means is it needs to be carried. Once you cut that tree down, the tree is not going to grow feet and walk and attack you like they thought back in the day, because sometimes black people are just superstitious. This is another point I wanted to bring out. You tell somebody that black people are the real Jews of the Bible and that Christ was a black man, they'll laugh you out, say you're making stuff up. But there are grown adults who believe in ghosts. There are grown adults right now who believe that there are mermaids. That's what they believe, that there's actual mermaids. I'll tell you, ain't no mermaids. If you fall off a boat in the middle of the water and the boat leaves you, the only thing that's going to come for you is sharks. Like, you may be the one single white person that gets saved by a dolphin, but that's pretty much not going to happen. There's no mermaids coming for you. Those don't exist. You're getting eaten by sharks. But it's not okay for us to believe that we are the Jews of the Bible, even though archaeology, anthropology, and the scriptures say so. We can't believe that, even though it's in history, even though the Bible was written in the oldest language known to man, because believe it or not, Hebrew is the oldest language known to man. People can try to say that other things predate it as far as actual languages go, as far as actual words, because there were pictorial languages like symbols, but no, the actual oldest language is Hebrew. And these words are telling Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, if they're able to read it and understand, that we are the Jews of the Bible. Don't believe in ghosts. Believe that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the children of Israel. Any more on that verse?
A little bit more.
Let's hear it, because I keep going off on topic. I'm Salaki. I'm sorry. I'm doing it again.
It's all good. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good.
So they can't do good. Back in the day, the people would give them gifts, put gifts under the tree so nothing happened to them, but it can't happen. This is a filthy, disgusting holiday. This is an abomination. I don't want to get too graphic, but the holiday, you know what? I won't go there. I'll just say it's filthy and disgusting. I won't get graphic. It's the equivalent of the holiday is disgusting. It's the equivalent of wiping your behind and handing it to somebody. That's the Most High is seeing it as a disgusting holiday. But you think it's a good thing to do. You think worshiping another God, you think all these other gods that were born on this day don't matter. And even though Christ wasn't, you can worship this day and do it. But just tell the people that are saying Christ was born on this day, tell them to prove it. Because you'll find that Christ was born around the time that taxation was happening. And taxation, just like tax season is in the spring now, that's how it was back in the day. That's exactly how it was. Some people will literally say that you could take this holiday and you can make it into something good. Like, no, but this is the way I give thanks to God. You know, even though the Native Americans were absolutely slaughtered by the Pilgrims, even though people have been, you know, putting up Christmas trees. That was Jeremiah that was saying this. They have been putting up Christmas trees for thousands of years and hundreds of years before Christ has been born. People were being unalived on crosses in Rome before Christ was born. That it was a common practice in Rome. Don't worship that. You can't make that something good when it was something wrong. Job 14:4 says, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean thing? Not one. Not one person can make something that was so disgusting and dirty something clean. Let's continue. All right. So here's some of the things that you should have around the time of the Feast of Dedication, which people, you know, pretty much stole ideas from Christmas, this, that, and the fourth, is a menorah or a menorah. Exodus 25:31, and thou shalt make a candlestick of pure gold. There are people who say they worship Christ, they worship God, but they don't even know what a menorah is. These are directions in Exodus on how to do it. That's how you know it's supposed to be in the scriptures. I mean, excuse me, that's how you know it's supposed to be done, because it's in the scriptures. These are things that were stolen by the same descendants, the descendants that killed the Native Americans. They actually stole menorahs from our people back in the day. I'm going to go ahead and read the whole thing in Exodus 25, and then I'm going to move down to Revelations 1 and 13, and then we'll go ahead and close out. Exodus 25 and 31. And thou shalt make a candlestick of pure gold. So this is what's being told to the Israelites by God. Of beaten work shall the candlestick be made. His shaft and his branches, his bowls, his knops, and his flowers shall be the same. So this is going to be a candlestick that's going to have a stick in the middle with 3 on each side. That's 7, not 8, like some people are doing now. All right, let's read it in Revelations to prove that it still has validity even in the New Testament. This is Revelations 1 and 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. So even in Revelations, this is describing what Christ had on, but it's still showing you that he's in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks, because those 7 golden candlesticks actually represent something. Put the menorah in your house. Don't put a cross tree. Don't put a tree in your house. Don't put a cross in your house. Don't put a cross-dressing tree in your house. You could put a menorah in your house. Don't put a dreidel in your house either. Don't do that. All right. And I'm going to read about when this is Joel, and he's talking about how the things were stolen, because I said the menorah was stolen. I'll just read about that, and then we'll go ahead and we'll move on and to close. So Joel 3 and 5, he's talking to all of the people and the heathens that have done the different things to us and stolen everything, as far as God's belongings that were given to the children of Israel or held by the children of Israel. This is Joel 3 and 5. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold. The menorah was made out of gold, out of pure gold. I have a book that actually shows the picture of them carrying it off during the destruction of Jerusalem. And they are proud of it. And have carried into your temples my godly pleasant things. So the tree isn't a godly pleasant thing. The cross isn't a godly pleasant thing. The menorah actually is. That's something around the time of the Feast of Dedication you should have in your house. And you should light that bad boy up around that time. Don't light a tree up. All right. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass the class over to Priest and Officer Koch.
This is the ISUPK security announcement. It's rules for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They're here to learn and share themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, they're to seek counsel from the heads. Taj, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21. Malachi 3, 8 through 10. Ma'asher, which means a tenth in Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Priest fund is a frequent offering for the priest. It's not mandatory. Whatever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations. It's the Feast of Dedication. It's the same day as Christmas this year, December 25th. You know what I mean? So come out December 25th and celebrate the real Feast of the Lord, right?
Damn right.
If any brother wants to be a trooper to school, he's to start wearing black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, imagine men of Israel, which means to stand. Men of Israel, imagine Shabbat, imagine Rock, Yahweh, Shabbat, Yahweh, hands down. Sorry, turn to face the sisters. Sisters, imagine, which means to stand. Men of Israel, imagine Shabbat, imagine Rock, Yahweh,
Shamar al-Thumba, Shini al-Shai.
Yahweh, Pastor Smith.